What's popping, y'all? So today we're gonna be talking about Ozempic, the Ozempic revolution. Now, if you don't know what Ozempic is, it's basically a type 2 diabetes drugs used to improve blood sugars in adult and also lower the risk of major cardiovascular events like stroke, heart attack, or death for adults with type 2 diabetes and heart disease. The main ingredient in Ozempic is semaglutide, which is the major ingredient in Wegovy and other diabetes drugs that do the similar things that Ozempic's doing. Basically is a class of medicines called glucagon-like peptide GLP-1, which basically binds to GLP-1 receptors, which results in lower blood sugars and A1C levels. It may also reduce your appetite to help weight loss. Basically, it tricks your mind into thinking that you're full neurologically, and basically it creates an effect to where it's just now you don't feel like you want to eat, or you just like, you're like have a low appetite. So that's pretty much what the magic is in Ozempic and other wonder drugs. Now, I'm not gonna do a deep dive into like how Ozempic came to be, the history behind this. That's probably gonna be another video, depending on how this situation goes. But pretty much, basically, Ozempic led to Wegovy and basically Zepbound, which is now being used to not only just do weight loss but also heart health, as mentioned in the other blurb. And while it was once restricted, especially by insurance companies, because they felt like people were using it for cosmetic results like obesity, more people want to like get slimmer, thinner, or whatever, instead of just actually having a medical need for it. That may not hold up for cardiovascular disease, as the article states right here, meaning that if health insurance companies want to pay for you to not get cardiovascular disease, or not have a heart attack or stroke, which might send you to a hospital later, which might cost them more out of pocket, then they're going to probably fund this to the max. As well as insurance companies love to make money, so they're probably going to fund this in the max and soon. But the main issue I want to bring up with this article is that there have been many shortages of the main ingredient semaglutide since March 2022. Currently, most doses of Wegovy are in limited supply, as the popularity of the semaglutide has skyrocketed. Demand has completely outstripped the capacity of its manufacturer. A lot of people have been, using Ozempic, for many years, but it didn't really like blow up until like for the past few months. And pretty much now people are now having a hard time finding Ozempic, even people that really need the, drugs. Pretty much people with type 2 diabetes. And just really just going to another story, like what this shortage is doing to everyday people. This man Court Rito, basically, who weighed 425 pounds before getting weight loss surgery and was put on the drug Trulicity, is still having a hard time trying to find his local pharmacist for like a restock because of the shortage. And now has to pretty much check his sugar every day to make sure he doesn't get to a point where he has to be taken to the hospital. The same has been said about Dr. Praya from Langon Health in NYU. Basically, shortages have been an issue for patients on and off more than a year, and pretty much has encouraged their patients to try and plan around them, to try and like stretch their medicines to as much as possible. And just from the company Trulicity alone, they basically said they're going to be expecting back order doses through early 2024, and basically recognizing that this disruption may cause a change in people's treatment regimen, and we're moving with urgency to address it by trying to re-up the stock. And this is not even the worst case of it all. Now kids are going towards these weight loss drugs, especially in their teenage years. So basically, this article goes through a story about Demi Buckley. She basically got onto Wegovy in March 23, right after the FDA had approved it, and basically she lost about 58 pounds within that time of the article, which was last month or 2 months ago. FDA is now approving this use of these life-saving medications for children. In just 2023 alone, about 4,000 prescriptions of semaglutide sold under the brand names Wegovy and Ozempic were written for children of the ages 12 to 17. And while this may sound extreme, this basically goes under the guidelines and recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Basically, the group added anti-obesity medications as part of its guidelines for treating obesity in kids ages 12 and up. Behavioral and lifestyle modifications such as diet and exercise are still considered the first line of treatment, but for kids and teens, which those aren't enough, pediatricians now can prescribe medication. Now, this is a huge problem because about 15 million children and teens now have obesity, and the percentage of kids impacted by it has tripled over the last 3 decades. And obesity can put kids at higher risk of developing higher blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and obstructive sleep apnea. So just my opinion alone, just being a public health, professional, we are experiencing an obesity crisis like none other. Like, adults are obese, kids are obese. But the way that we solve it is not like trying to prescribe, these type of drugs to children. I'm not saying that's the first thing they're doing. I'm not saying they're trying to push this agenda on there, but I feel like prescribing this or allowing the guidance for people to be able to prescribe this type of medication is going to open up a whole new door of people trying to use Ozempic who are not diabetic, who don't have the health effects of diabetes, like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and all that, and really don't need to be on it. But because they're a little bit bigger than the kids around them, they might feel like their self-esteem is going to be hurting, or like their self-esteem will be hurting. I'm not saying like that's going to be figurative, but they're going to jump straight to Ozempic. And it's just like, that's not the way we're going to, because there's actual people that actually need this medicine to like manage their like health conditions. What I figured might probably think, that might go either way with this whole Ozempic revolution is like, one, like healthcare does, big pharma does, they're going to lean way into it. They're going to try to get more out of it. They're going to try to get insurance companies to push to like cover this, to try to make it more money making venture. And now we're going to be having kids, popping Ozempic, getting Ozempic, getting, Montagero, Wegovy, who don't need to be on this stuff, who just really just need to like push for more diet or exercise. They're going to be continually doing this, and this is not a long-term solution to a weight loss, because once you get off on it, you're pretty much going to probably gain that weight back if you don't make any significant lifestyle changes. Now, another idea, which I hope is more sensible, and I feel like that's the one I'm hoping people will come to their senses to, is that stop trying to lean into Ozempic, stop trying to lean into pharmacies and drugs and all that. How about we need to start pushing more lifestyle changes, or change the way that people like interact with the world in order to change their lifestyles. Like, my main purpose, of being in public health school is like, addressing like the non-medical drivers of health, primarily food insecurity. How about we make access to more nutritious and, culturally relevant meals to people, so that way they're not always going to Mickey D's, Burger King, they're not always going to Popeye's Chicken, they're not going to like all these like fast food joints to getting cheap meals. Then you have a cheap meal at home, one they can make easily, ready made, whatever, and pretty much make that as just tasty or just as healthy and as good. And just doubling down on it, I feel like legislature, state legislature, and the federal government need to start cracking down on this type of off-label use. I think there's one case in New York where a senator or a representative is trying to like pass a law where Ozempic off-label use is somewhat regulated or restricted. And it's just, at this point in time, I don't know what the status of that case is. I'm being on the lookout for that, as well as like a whole slew of other cases. But I'm really thinking that this is going to be a very contentious issue, as much as these shortages loom, as much as people aren't able to access the medication they need, as well as like as more people are trying to like get Ozempic to be covered more and more by insurances, or just really like any semaglutide drug, trying to make sure they're getting covered by as many insurance companies as possible. And at the end of the day, that is not going to really solve the epidemic of diabetes, and obesity that we see in the country, because this is just a short-term solution to it. But with that being said, that has been Pop Up Today. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that wonderful good stuff. As well as, I'm happy to announce that we have made it to 200 subscribers. And for that, I want to give a quick shout out to everyone that's been following me for the past almost 4.5 years now. Definitely been a journey, pivoting into many different things. And, I'm very happy that, the channel is getting off on a good footing, getting some traction, getting some, coverage, getting people like engaged and all that. And I'm just truly blessed to be at the point I am now, and I wouldn't be there without you all. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for y'all keep giving advice, and thank y'all for doing whatever. If you have any comments not only about this story but other stories you want me to cover, please put it down in the comment section below. Also, we're gonna watch this video about the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse I did a few weeks ago. Just an initial update. I might do another update soon. But other than that, stay warm, stay frosty, depending on what part of the country you're in, and peace out.